Hey, Jared.
Hey, Josh.
Did you hear about the ice cream truck accident?
No, I did not hear about the ice cream truck accident.
It crashed on a rocky road. Figured this was an appropriate one for this.
Yeah. Yeah, you're doing good with the themes.
Hey, welcome back to Screen Time. I'm your host, Josh. Jared, is there anything else I can help you with? Perhaps you'd like an 11-year-old prostitute sent to your room? We could do that. Or maybe we could off someone for you. Huh? How's that sound? I've got it. Why don't we start small? Would you like a fresh towel? Maybe you could roll that and smoke it.
I didn't realize you were going to do that whole bit. That was great.
And that's my co-host, Jared.
Unleash the fury.
Mitch. Unleash the fury, Mitch.
Yeah. I was doing the last one where he yells it, but I didn't want to yell it.
Unleash the fury.
Yeah.
It's funny that we both picked. I mean, you told me you had Tom Green. I was like, oh, and then I was like, mine's from Andy Dick.
Yeah. The most 2000s actors ever.
Yeah, like comedian actors.
Yeah.
That
not really doing anything.
Just all side roles. And, yeah.
We don't really see them anymore.
Yep. Man. Just as we started, I get something on here.
We'll just keep it rolling. No cut.
Oh. Anyway, today we are talking about Road Trip. And we're starting a new director.
Yes.
Director Todd Phillips, who mostly did comedies.
Yeah.
Like today's film until recent years.
Hard pivot.
Yeah. Which will be interesting to see.
Yeah. And a lot of these, like, we just like kind of look through them, and I imagine a lot of these you've seen.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Probably not in a while.
Correct.
Yeah. Which is kind of the same for me too, this will be fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, so this film came out in 2000, rated R, hour and 33 minutes.
Great length. 4
college buddies embark on a road trip to retrieve an illicit tape mistakenly mailed to a female friend.
Yep.
Notice that it's a female friend. It's not his girlfriend. It's a female friend in the description.
Yes.
All right. So we got director Todd Phillips, writer Todd Phillips and Scott Armstrong, cinematographer Mark Irwin, who...
Did you look him up?
Yeah, I looked him up. So he did this first Scream movie.
Nice.
He did RoboCop 2, like some of the of the stuff he did like in the 90s before this. He it was like a little bit more not just comedy.
Yeah.
But one of the other things that they had listed as known for was old school. So he's definitely
our next one, right?
Reoccurring. Yeah, like so he's done I didn't look to see how many because I wanted kind of more just to be surprised. But
yeah, definitely.
He obviously worked with Todd Phillips a few times.
Cool.
Music by Michael Simpson.
Yeah. I didn't really.
Nobody recognized.
Yeah, well, I looked him up, but not a whole lot.
Okay.
The next one's a big deal though, because I already looked up for the next movie, the composer.
Okay.
Someone different, but
estimated cost of $16 million. It's not too bad.
I feel like this seems kind of high. No?
In 2000.
A lot
of locations. I mean,
it is a lot of locations.
I don't know if they really filmed at Ithaca College or not, but
right.
So a bunch of recognizable people, at least nowadays, in this film.
Yeah.
Breckenmeyer plays our lead, Josh, which I've also found interesting. Almost no one has last names on IMDb. They just gave everybody first names in the film. And I mean, I assume that means they never mention it in the film or the IMDb would have it, but so it's just Josh. There's no last name. And Sean William Scott is EL, which I was like, I didn't realize that it was like until I saw it here
Me either.
that they were saying EL. And
yeah.
So, Amy Smart as Beth, Paulo Costanzo as Ruben, J.J. Qualls as Kyle, Rachel Blanchard as Tiffany, Anthony Rapp as Jacob, Fred Ward as Earl Edwards, Tom Green as Barry, Andy Dick as motel clerk, Ethan Suppley as Ed, Horatio Sands as French toast guy, and then John Ross Bowie as waiter.
Okay.
Anybody else did I miss that you recognized?
No, but I looked through the whole credits because I like doing this anyway, and Todd Phillips is in this movie, credited as Foot Lover.
He's the guy in the
bus. Yep. And then after, because I looked him up since we were going to do him, because I didn't know what he looked like. I'm like, oh, that's definitely him. Just a younger version of him.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well,
we'll see if he's just
so that waiter guy, do you know who he was?
No.
So he is in the Big Bang Theory as like the nemesis to the guys when they're at the university. He's got the lisp.
Oh, okay.
And he was the waiter.
No, yeah.
He's the waiter to the
he did look familiar.
Kyle's parents when they're in like the diner and their card gets denied.
Yes.
And that's him.
Yes. Okay. I was wondering about that when I was watching that scene. I was like, he did look very familiar.
So you've seen this film before, right?
Yeah, a lot of times.
Yeah, and same here. But it had been a really long time since I've seen it. But I definitely seen it several times back when it came out.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So what was your thoughts
this time?
Now or before? Like, kind of, what is your, since it's something that's kind of has a little bit more of a nostalgia, like what was your memory of it? And then how did that play out? I'm
trying to remember when I saw it. Probably
too young to see it, really. Did you see it
like the year it came out? I want to say I probably first saw it, the TV version, and then, which probably had a lot cut out. And then, but I do remember watching it. It had to have been a DVD. Maybe your DVD. Did you have it on DVD?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Okay, it was probably that one. But so it would have been probably maybe a few years after that. But yeah, I mean, a lot of what I was thinking about with this movie is it's very much, which I still really like it. I liked it then, and I still like it now. It's just a very of that era comedy. Like I was thinking of American Pie.
Yep.
It's exactly like those kind of movies. And
Sean William Scott being in both.
Exactly. Yep. And I mean, even our next movie after this and some other stuff around this time, all very similar and definitely nostalgic for me. Yeah, I just remember watching it with just my friends a lot too, and just quoting. Actually, this one, watching it this time, I haven't seen it in a long time. Quoting so much of this back in the day, I remember just random lines.
You're right.
Ones that don't make sense.
You're right. Like so my memory of this was I really liked it. I watched it multiple times, and then watching it this time. In general, I think it holds up. Like I was still laughing at stuff. You're right. There is like a little like takes me back to like basically quote unquote high school, even though it came out a little bit post high school for me. But kind of just has like, even though it came out in 2000, it has like the 90s vibe, right? And comedy kind of that fits that. And but you're right. That was the other thing I noticed as I was watching. I was like, oh, I remember saying that. Like, I used to quote things from this that I guess somehow fell out of my vocabulary. Because there's definitely things I still quote from, like Dumb and Dumber.
Yes.
So,
yeah, no,
this was even older than this movie. But
this is one, and there's other movies like this from, I feel like, probably around the same time where you would just watch a lot and then just quote it all the time with your friends. And then it's normally, I guess, for like a period, and then you just stop, I guess. Because, like, at
some point it goes out of your.
I was trying to think what else around this time. Yeah, it's like late 90s, early 2000s. Like the first one I thought it was American Pie, but there's other ones, right? Like I was trying to think what else. Very specific, because another thing I was thinking about with this movie, it's kind of my first note, is it's just a very, very 2000s movie, like in every way. Like all the actors are very much of that time. Obviously the clothing they're wearing. There's not a whole lot of actually like music tracks, but when there are, I'm like, oh yeah, this is also very,
so it's
just the whole feel of it is very, I mean, even the comedy too. It's very much of that time. And yeah, so it is nostalgic, which probably plays into it some. Because if someone watched this movie and never saw it, maybe probably wouldn't have liked it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Watching it in 2024 for the first time.
Maybe.
So I think some of these are going to be, you might like more just because there is nostalgia playing a big factor into it. But no, I think it does hold up. I was trying to think, there's not really, and I mentioned, you said the length of it, I think is perfect too, like a little over an hour and a half. Doesn't really ever feel, I don't think there's any point where I was like bored, you know. It was like, it's pretty good pacing too.
Yeah, the pacing for sure. Yeah, felt good.
And especially for first movie of his, I mean,
yes,
pretty great.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, I did have this down here. What? Van Wilder was the other one I wrote down.
Yes,
very similar also.
Yes. Well, that one takes place on a college campus.
Yeah. But it's like same vibe, same kind of humor, you know, very much of that time.
Definitely Ryan Reynolds getting his start there.
Yeah.
Van Wilder.
Yeah.
And yet still doing that kind of comedy in Deadpool.
It still works.
Still works in Deadpool.
Yeah. I mean, I just watched Deadpool 1 and 2 again, and I was like, these are still so good.
In preparation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so interesting note. I'm gonna kind of So Ithaca College is where Peter, friend of the pod, went to school.
Nice. Did you ask him about it at all?
I did.
Okay.
He went to school the same time Todd Phillips was there.
Really?
He said he doesn't remember him specifically, but he did say he does know that John Ross Bowie guy. For the guy from Big Bang that was in the
that guy, okay.
Yeah, him. And then also there was another person that was there that's not in this film. But anyway, but he went to school with him, and I'm like, oh, so he must be friends with Todd Phillips, and that's even why he got that small role.
That makes sense.
And because
well, then I imagine they definitely did film it actually at Ithaca. If he went there, like why would he not?
Maybe, but I mean, it might not have made sense.
Well, I guess, if he couldn't, for some reason, be able to shoot there.
I didn't look it up. Maybe it'll be in the trivia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
it was the same time.
They definitely were there at the same time.
Awesome.
And then he looked up a picture of him and he's like, he kind of looks familiar, but like he is not somebody he knew.
I'm sure they were past each other.
Well, they were in the same, because he was in there for communications with a focus on radio and TV news, right? Because that's what he used to do. And then, but then of course these people would have been in the, communications focus on film.
Yep.
But he's like, they were in the same building. Like they were all kind of in the same.
That's cool.
Yeah. Because like Ithaca is it's just in the southern part of New York, Western New York. So
I was wondering exactly where it was.
It's it's up near the Finger Lakes where we just were a few months ago. Yeah.
Nice.
We were like a few minutes from
there. Did you pass by it?
No, because we went to because it's, again, the people don't know, Finger Lakes are handful of lakes, skinny lakes that are vertical on the map, going north to south. And at the base of the lake that we went to is a different town, but it's the next lake over. The base of that is Ithaca, the town or city, and then like the college is there. And so it was not far, like 15, 20-minute drive from where we were, but we didn't go over to that lake. We stayed on the lake that we were at. But yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's smaller. So it's not far from here, like a 4-hour drive.
Yeah.
But that brings me to another note, because one of the places they stop is Bedford, PA, which is very close to us.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
It's like an hour from here or something, right?
Yep. I remember playing there many times.
It used to be, I remember going to at least a spoken concert there too, I think.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Sure. But yeah, so that was just kind of interesting notes of geographical /
Speaking of geographical, I didn't put this down as a note, but it was something I didn't remember that I thought was really funny was them keep saying Austin, Massachusetts. Austin, Massachusetts.
Oh, I didn't remember that part either.
Yeah.
So I didn't.
And that's it's a big plot point ends up being because he says Austin, not Boston, but, or I guess it plays into the plot. Yeah,
it does. What I did not remember that they keep coming back to him as like a tour guide and he's telling a story. I didn't remember that was part of the
I didn't either, because I remember like right when I saw the first thing, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this. This is how the movie starts. And I remember it ends that way too, but I did not remember it jumping back to him.
Yeah,
you know, a few times.
Yeah. And then yeah, I definitely did not. I had an inkling. I was like, but did not remember the ending either. Like how it ended up.
Yeah, I was a little foggy on that, because I feel like a lot of times, even rewatching this movie, it's like you watch most of it and then just like stop it, or you just don't, or you're just doing other stuff or talking or whatever, and it's like, yeah, I feel like the ending of a lot of these movies you don't remember as much as.
It's not really the important part.
No, or yeah, if you're watching for the comedy, it's like everything's all the beginning and middle, usually anyway. Yeah.
The
that's so weird. Like we both have pretty much the same memories or not memories of this movie, you know?
Yeah. I didn't remember the whole plot line of him like needing to make the midterm and having like the guy that hated his guts because he thought that Beth liked him, and or like he was trying to do it with Beth, and which eventually he does, but like he wasn't actually trying. But like it was just a couple of the like some of the side stuff. Like I kind of forgotten even a lot of the side stuff about the snake. Like,
oh really?
Like like I didn't.
That stuff I always remember just because I remember quoting it.
Yeah,
so much to all the stuff he says to him.
Yeah, stuff about like there would be blood shed.
Yeah. Or is it Amy Smart? Is that Beth? Okay. Yeah, when she walks in, he's like, "You here for the massacre?"
Yeah. It's funny. It's like she doesn't even really react.
No,
she's just like,
well, because she knows how weird he is. She's just like, okay, whatever.
This is normal.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
which always makes it funnier.
Oh yeah,
because she doesn't react.
I think, I mean, the other guys too, like we just mentioned, like Tom Green, Andy Dick, but like I think of the girls, like her, Amy Smart, like very popular around this time, but it's like nothing now, right?
I mean,
but I remember she was huge then.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, and then who are the other girls? I mean, I guess the girl that plays his girlfriend.
But I didn't recognize her.
I don't think I've ever seen her in anything else.
No.
Those are the two main like women that are even in. I mean, there's other. The rest of them are just like side random.
Yep. Or just a gratuitous shot. Of just them, a bunch of them naked.
I had a note about the when he's telling the story, and then they're like. And then also it cuts to the tour guide, and they're like, women don't just stand around naked.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny because it's definitely a meta, like referencing
for sure
the other films that do that, and then that they're in the similar type of comedy style.
Yep.
I had a note about the when they go to the party. And there's like a ska band.
Yes.
I was like, oh man, it's
very much of the time.
So much of the time.
Yep.
Like when else would you have a ska band? Like it would never have been a ska band unless like if it was made even a few years before, a few years after, you would not pick a ska band playing it.
Yep. Very small window for that.
So what other parts of your?
I only got a couple notes. The line, so it's E.L. Sean William Scott is E.L. Okay. Yeah. So when he is talking to, what's our main guy?
Oh, Josh.
Josh. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
I don't know why I forgot that. This line I didn't remember, and I was just like, this is such a wild line where he says, "You're already cheating. Anytime you pass up sex, you're cheating on yourself." And he was so sincere the way he says it to him also. I was like, man.
Oh. Yeah. Let's see, that was
like the beginning when they're first like walking around campus.
Yeah. You're cheating. It's such a line for like it would work in American Pie for his character too. Like he's playing the same character.
The
same character.
Pretty much. Yeah, there's no difference. Yeah, between Stifler. Yeah.
And EL.
Yeah, EL. That's another thing. Yeah, don't remember them even ever saying EL. Anytime I've seen this movie.
Nope.
I don't think he's just ever referenced his name. And then the songs that Barry sings, there's only like a couple in it. It's just great though. Another thing I remember quoting a lot, the one at the beginning, I think, is the main one I remember that he sings. Yeah, I think it's near the beginning, but anyway, I always like that part. It's just insane what he does. And then later it's just him hitting the guitar and saying "Unleash the Fury," which is great.
Yeah. How about the actually she was from, what was she else in? The blind lady.
Yes.
He steals the short bus from.
Yeah.
She was in other things.
She's still in things, I want to say.
Yeah.
She looks familiar.
Somehow I missed her on the. I was just thinking, but that's a funny scene. Like,
oh yeah, yeah. She clearly knows what's going on. Yeah.
But
yeah, and then the other person I definitely recognized was the grandma. Because she's been in other comedies like this, I want to say also. Yeah. No, I don't know. Like, that's what I remember her from, but maybe she's just been an actor forever and she's in like really old movies. I don't know. But and then really my only last thing is another quote that I don't remember ever hearing before, and I thought it was great. So again, EL, this time talking to Kyle, is the really nerdy, not the smart guy, the really dorky guy. Okay.
The guy's car that they...
Yes. I think it's when he's convincing him to get his car. And he's like, what are you going to do here? He says, playing Myst with the exchange students. And then I thought of like, actually, that sounds pretty sick. But I was like, that's a reference that you and I will both get because we know that game.
Yep.
And might even played it with one of our exchange students we had growing up.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I don't really.
I remember having that game and on. It would have been a little newer. It was at least on CD.
Yes.
It was not floppy.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I do remember always quoting when he's like, "We can make it." And it's like, and I just the car across. It's so that's that scene. It's so well done with the where they're prepping, talking Hawks Loogie, and then the bridge falls.
Yeah,
and then they're like, "Oh, we could still."
Yeah, you're right. That scene is really well done because it's all that
the tension. Like, I mean, you're still like a little bit like, are they gonna? Even though like I've seen it many times, no, they make it across. But I had forgotten that it blows up.
I did too. That was a great way to end the scene too. Yeah.
Well,
and it was all one shot too. It didn't cut. So like, I'm like, that had to have been only one take. There's no way they're blowing up too. I'm like, so whatever they had rehearsed before that for that one take that they all said before that, and then they had to. I don't know. I mean, they kind of jump a little bit, but they have to at least. They can't like freak out too. Yeah, too much. Yeah.
The well, it's also funny. I don't know, because they clear it so easily.
Yeah.
That you're like, oh, yeah, it was no problem. But then all of a sudden the tires fall off, or the wheels and tires, and then they all get out, and then it explodes.
Yep.
It's just it's just a good comedy beats there with it. And,
And I mean, looking at the other movies coming up that obviously we've seen also, I don't know how much he did of writing these other ones too, but at least with directing, does that really well for these comedies.
Yeah.
For pretty much most of the movies.
Yeah.
We have a long run of comedies, which is cool because I know we kind of wanted to switch it up anyway from what we've been doing, which Cohen's has comedy and it's very different though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
You got anything else?
Well,
I didn't write anything else down, but
I didn't write anything else down, but I was gonna just it's just all the little, I mean the French toast guy.
Yeah.
And they're like, what a great, he's so nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that just gross.
Yeah.
And then when they go to the fraternity.
Mm-hmm. That's a scene I always will remember very well. Well, I guess because I mean a lot happens there too. And then of course the dorky kid finally loses his virginity too.
Yeah.
But also before that, isn't that? No, maybe that's a little later. I want to say there's actually a kind of serious dialogue scene. Is it in that part, or maybe it's when they go to the grandparents' house? There's it's very short, but there's a short scene where they actually kind of. Oh no, it is at the grandma's. This is what I'm thinking of. What's our really smart guy's name? I'm blank on his name too.
Yeah, Ruben.
When he's out front, and then the grandpa comes out.
Mm-hmm.
And he's smoking weed, but he kind of starts going into kind of how he feels and kind of how he processes things. Mm-hmm. And it's serious for a very short amount of time, and then he's like, "Are you gonna pass that or what?" And then and then that's it. But
and then the dog's talking to him.
Yep, that's right. I was thinking about CG. I'm like, oh, I guess that's probably the only thing, least noticeable that's CG wise in this.
Yeah,
I mean the car scene that was a very real explosion. I don't think it didn't look like anything was added to that one.
No, it did not. But I didn't know that guy was a DJ. I guess he's a DJ.
Because of his name, I guess. No, I mean
Qualls, unless it's
no, it could just be short for
Dwayne Johnson.
I don't know. Dwayne the Rock Johnson. Yeah, what's funny is he was in a lot of the movies from around this time too, right? But do you remember he was a very short time in Breaking Bad, which was so random. But I remember he showed up in that show, and it was great because it was a pretty serious role he did too, and it was just so weird seeing him in that. But because I've always just seen him play just like Sean William Scott, it's the same character.
Yeah, he definitely got
typecast
as the nerdy dork.
Yeah.
Then in these kind of movies. And,
yep.
Yeah, and he plays it well. He does well.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't ring a bell. I mean, I believe you. It just doesn't ring a bell.
Well, you probably haven't seen Breaking Bad in a while.
It has been a while.
Yeah.
It has been a while.
Yeah. So I guess now with these first two movies that we're doing, so Todd Phillips just kind of wanted to relive the college days. Because, I mean, old school is
I guess.
Also very much that.
The real question is this based on a real life event of some sort?
That's a good question. I was thinking about that because this whole thing that happens, the whole plot and story, I'm like, I could see this actually happening. In a lot of situations that, a group of guys would just go do this. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously things being embellished and whatnot.
Sure,
but the overall idea. So the end, like, so he shows up, you know, and then he's got the tape in his hand, and you're like, dude, get rid of the tape, like. And he like follows her back, and then, you know, so then he gets the phone call, and then she puts it in, and he's like, no, and then it's covered up.
And then it's covered up, yeah.
By Tom Green.
Yep. That was actually that was a good choice to do that, because I mean, it's a little bit of not what you expect. I mean,
yeah,
because even her playing it, he's still on the phone. You see her in the background, you're like, oh, she's actually gonna, you know, see this whole thing, but
freak out.
Yeah.
But then they end up breaking up anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Yeah, there's a good way to start and end the movie with, you know, him telling it to just like being a tour guide, I guess, for the college, and just
being the heavier set kid that's on the tour. Like, he looked familiar too.
You said his name.
Oh, did I?
Ethan Suplee. Yeah, he's in all the.
Yeah. I got it.
He's in all the wow, Kevin Smith movies. I was blanking on his name. Yeah, he's in like all those.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of that, I need to write down him.
Those are definitely more 90s films.
Oh yeah, but
yeah,
that would be
a good
director. I mean, I know, especially you guys, you and Mike have both watched a lot of his stuff.
Yeah, especially Mallrats.
Oh yeah,
Mallrats is one of my.
That's a movie that we still quote to this day.
Yes.
There's a few we still,
definitely quotes come out for that one, time to time.
I'll write that down now before I forget.
So the other thing, I was like, I'd love the side plot of that pays off from the Austin, Massachusetts.
Yes.
and then she goes up there, confronts her, and then
this guy gets destroyed.
And then his car destroyed.
Yep.
He did nothing wrong. He's probably a great boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. She goes all the way down there and then comes all the way back. Like, and she's not even like that mad about it, that she went all the way there and back. And it's just crazy.
It's, because it's like Tom Green's character.
Yeah.
Like, you're kind of like, how are you going to get, it's like, it's like Kramer or something. Like, you don't get, it's like, I mean, you get mad, but you're like, you know, you're like, you should know better to fully.
That's true.
But the interesting is like she goes that far, but then in the end, she knows that he cheated on his girlfriend technically, but yet she still wants to be his girlfriend. She's like, "Oh, I need you around next semester."
Classic 2000s movie. Yeah.
So it's a little,
yeah. Can't all be realistic.
Because the rest of it's so realistic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, like I said, I'd be curious if someone like watched it now that never saw it before.
Yeah.
Definitely, if you watch this movie for the first time because we're talking about it, whatever, and let us know what you think, because I'm really curious how it holds up to fresh, like seeing it fresh.
Definitely. Yeah. Wonder how different it would be.
I don't know. So as far as like cinematography, I don't really have any notes.
I don't either.
I mean, it's just, I mean, a lot of comedies are shot this way. There's just like nothing really. There was a couple, they do a couple POV shots, things that make it a little interesting, but which it was early days to doing those, like, so, but nothing like there's not much. And then as far as music scores, kind of the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Other than a few like actual soundtrack type.
Yeah.
Music. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's check a little trivia. See if we can find out maybe there's some stuff about them.
Wait, I have.
All right. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I have a note. under themes and messaging.
Yeah.
Maybe don't leave the video camera running when you sit on the desk.
When cheating on your girlfriend. It's the main takeaway from this.
Yeah, that's the main takeaway.
Oh. Or don't let your don't have your roommate mail it.
Yeah.
That's really the...
Yeah, what? I'm trying to remember if they explained it why. Like, he asked him to mail it.
He was like, he had to run, and he's like, can you mail it for me?
Okay.
And then he didn't mail it, and then he mailed it first thing the next morning, but by then he had swapped the tape because he was recording the... So here's our trivia. So Rachel Blanchard, who plays Tiffany, they had her dye her hair because she also is naturally blonde with blue eyes, and Todd Phillips wanted her to look different than Amy Smart.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Todd Phillips is the toe-licking pervert on the bus.
Yep.
The university in the opening scene, so like the flyover, the drone shot, is actually Harvard University.
Okay.
And it's the same footage is used in Old School.
Oh, that makes sense, actually.
So, though the film takes place at schools in Ithaca, Boston, and Austin, almost all the college scenes were filmed at Georgia Tech, Emory University, and the University of Georgia, all near Atlanta.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, yeah, I figured whatever college they did use, they're not going to 3 different colleges to film. You know? It'd be way cheaper to just film them all in the same spot.
Yeah, and then it says Ithaca University is fictional, which is what's in the film. But Todd Phillips and Scott Armstrong, so the other writer, are alum of Ithaca College in Ithaca, New York, and the movie is partly based on their times there.
Yeah. Nice. And Peter also.
Yes. Peter, friend of the pod.
Yep.
Guest on the pod.
Guest on Fargo.
Mm-hmm.
If any of y'all watch that. Hopefully you guys watch that.
Is that the only one he was on?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so far I think.
Sorry, I thought he did too. Originally, Moby's version of James Bond theme played in the background when EL drove the car over the bridge. But Todd Phillips changed it to generic song because the film's budget wasn't enough to use the Moby song.
Yeah, that would have been very expensive.
So the motel clerk reads an issue of Celebrity Skin magazine with Drew Barrymore on the cover. At the time, Barrymore was engaged to actor Tom Green, who plays Barry.
Didn't know that.
In the movie.
Really? She was with him? That's interesting.
So after successful box office run and strong DVD sales, a direct sequel was proposed, but mainly failed when producers could not come up with anything that would not easily become an American Pie. Some of the proposed creative ideas would move on to become Eurotrip, 2004.
Yeah, that one I remember watching a lot too, but that's not on the list. So Todd Phillips didn't do that one.
Zach Galifianakis auditioned for the role of Barry. He would later earn a lead role in Todd Phillips' film, The Hangover.
There you go.
Yes. The Ford Bronco in the exploded car scene with Fred Ward was rented from an actual safety crew that was there for the jump scene and car explosion scene. The transportation director thought the personal vehicle of one of the paramedics would look good in the movie as a rescue vehicle. It was used in the subsequent scene where Fred Ward is investigating the burned out car shell.
Mm-hmm.
Breckenmeyer and Amy Smart later starred together as a couple in Rat Race.
Oh, yeah. Another one I haven't seen in a long time.
It's funny. Amy Smart was hesitant to show her breasts in the film, and Todd Phillips convinced her by saying Phoebe Cates' nude scene in Fast Times at Ridgemont High was his favorite nude scene in a movie.
That's pretty much everyone's
favorite. It's a classic one. Yeah.
See, that's pretty much everyone's favorite from back then.
Yeah.
Now this one, because I know a lot of these movies from around this time, they'd be rated R, but have the unrated version. I don't know. Was this an unrated? Was there an unrated version of this or not?
Don't know. I don't remember either. You're right. That was a common thing to do as well.
A lot of those movies
get released on DVD, yep. And I mean sometimes they would be pretty much gimmicks just to get people to buy, because it would just be like, oh, we added a few scenes here, a few seconds longer on the scene here, a few seconds longer on the scene here, there.
That's normally
but because because all they had to do is change what the theatrical version was, and then it would have to be unrated because it's like it didn't go through the rating system to get an official rating.
Yeah,
and then it's unrated.
So it's a very small change.
So it doesn't have to be anything major, and they could
Yep.
So any final thoughts as we kick off our Todd Phillips filmography?
No. It's going to be fun going through all these comedies. We haven't gone through a run of comedies.
Yeah, and especially the comedies that I'd like. I know there was a handful mixed in with the drawing a blank his name. Edgar Wright.
Oh, yes.
But I didn't really care for.
Yeah, it's just like Coens too. They both have very specific style of comedy, and this is different too. But this is more broad, because not only him, we were talking about a lot of the movies from this time, very similar to this style of comedy. When was it? American Pie had to have been the same year, right? Or maybe 99?
Yeah, it might have been 99.
I guess it's got to be right around the same time, I want to say. Van Wilder, I know, was maybe 2 years later, but still
99. American Pie was 99.
So that might have been the first one to kick off this kind of style of comedy.
Van Wilder was 2002. Yeah. Trying to think of what was the other
I know another one that I love, but it's a little later also. That one I remember is 2005, is Waiting.
Waiting was good.
Yeah.
Not the same type of style of movie, but okay, Swingers.
Yeah. Swingers older, yeah.
96. No, I was thinking because of ska.
Oh, true. Yeah, I guess, that was big then too.
So, well, yeah, like I said, let us know what your thoughts are on this film, if you've seen it, if it's a nostalgic one for you, or if it's the first time and you liked or didn't like it. I mean, maybe it doesn't hold up and we just that's mainly what I'm wondering. Yeah, if it's definitely curious. Next we do
Old School.
Old School's the next film.
Yep.
Another one that I've seen. I actually didn't. I don't think I've seen that one as many times.
Really? Okay.
For some reason, I didn't watch that one as many times, but
I've seen that one a lot too.
Yeah.
That one's even bigger cast. Pretty big jump up in cast.
Yeah. Cool. Well, let us know your thoughts, feedback you have on this episode or previous episodes. You can leave a comment or DM us or email us at feedback@screentimepod.com. And if you want, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm at Jay Youngbar.
And I'm at Jared Youngbar.
All right. We will catch you guys next time.